Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got in another flashlight to take a look at. This one's coming from Nitecore and the model is the EDC29. This is a wedge style or flat flashlight that is incredibly bright and has a ton of other features to it. So stick around if you want to learn about it. We'll do a real quick unboxing, go over all those features and specifications. I'll go over the user interface, give you guys some beam shots, and then give some overall thoughts on it. So the EDC29 is using 2 of the UHI LEDs, which is producing 6500 max lumens, and it has 400 meters of throw. Looks like our max candela is just over 40,000. We have a 1 meter impact resistance, IP54, and there's a QR code if you want to scan that. But let's get the box opened up here. We'll see what all comes with it. Alrighty, there we go. So we obviously have the light up there. Looks like we have a lanyard with a carabiner on it, warranty card, manual, and a charging cable, which is type A to C. First thing I pulled out there was a quick start guide. Quickly show you the English version of the manual here, just in case you get this light. And if you were to ever lose your manual, you can always come back to this video for reference. Alright, let's get this EDC29 out of this plastic here. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is kind of like a series. I have the EDC23. They also make a 25 and a 27. They may make some others, but I know for sure those 4. But you can just see how thin this flashlight is. Give you guys some close-ups before we start going over everything. This is going to have an OLED display. There's our USB-C charging port. Does have a pocket clip. Has a little bit of texturing so that it doesn't like slip around in your hand. And it also has this lockout button over here on the side. As far as dimensions go, I'm going to go from the top of the button here to the end. And we are looking at like 5¼ inches. The widest spot, we're looking at about 1.35, and try to find you the thickest part this way, a depth of 0.8 inches. EDC29 is weighing in at 5.5 ounces. And not that 5½ ounces is heavy by any means, but this is using stainless steel as the body, so it is a little bit heavier than some other lights. This is going to have 4 regular outputs. You have an ultra low, a low, medium, and high. And then there's also 3 like special modes. You're going to have search, which is kind of like a spotlight. You're going to have what they're calling lumen shield, which is kind of like a floodlight, and then also a strobe. This OLED display is going to show you your brightness level, your lumens, your battery voltage, run times. We'll go over all that in a bit. This has a built-in lithium-ion 2500 milliamp hour battery. This light has a ton of safety features like constant current circuit, advanced power cutoff, temperature regulation, but probably one of the most important ones is it does have a proximity sensor. You see a little hole right there? So if this were in your pocket and it were turned on the high setting, it will detect that it's close to something and automatically reduce the output to a level where it doesn't like burn through your clothing and stuff. So I've mentioned that the light has lockout mode, and it is shipped in the full lockout, meaning that neither button is going to work. It's going to say full lockout. If I try hitting the other one, it's going to tell me the same thing. So nothing works when it's in full lockout. To get out of that full lockout mode, you just simply slide that little lever down, and now the flashlight will work. There's also a semi-lockout mode, and you start by being unlocked. You press this button here and hold it, and then at the same time slide this button up. So we'll press, hold, slide up. Now we're in semi-lockout, and this is not going to work over here now, and it's going to tell us that we're partially locked, but this button over here will work now. So that's the difference between semi-lock and full lock. One thing to point out is when you're in this semi-lockout, when you half press this button, it's going to give you like the search or the spotlight, but you can actually fully press it and go beyond that, and you can customize that to where if you want that lumen shield floodlight, or if you'd rather have that set up for strobe, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a bit too. Let's quickly run through our 4 kind of main outputs. So just a simple click of the light, it's going to turn us on. We're in level 1. That is 15 lumens, and that's actually going to go for about 60 hours or so. The light's not fully charged right now, that's why it's saying 53 hours or whatever. If you want to go to the next output, just simply tap it. That's going to be level 2. That was 100 lumens. That's going to go for about 13 hours. Tap again. Level 3 was 400 lumens. Maybe around 3 hours of runtime. We can tap again for level 4. 1200 lumens. Now we're getting very, very bright. And then if you continue to tap, it just repeats that. It goes back to 1500, 400, 1200. From the power button, you can do a momentary ultra low as well. So you just press this, hold for a second, and then it will come on. And then when you release, it will shut off. So you don't have to fully click or press it to turn it on. Just press, hold, and off. But you cannot access any of the other levels like the low, medium, and high. It's only that ultra low 15 lumens. Again, this button over here, they're calling it the customizable button. A half press of this is always going to give you your search or spotlight, and then you can program it to whether you want the floodlight or if you want strobe. I'll show you the spotlight first, which is 3000 lumens. You'll see it come on here, and you're going to see the display. There's like almost like a status indicator that's going to start going down. So it's showing our 3000 lumens. That's basically how long we have to use this. And then it's going to kind of dim down some right there. Do you see that? You can still continue to use it. It's just not fully 3000 lumens now. And now it'll take a little bit of time to build that back up. And then you're ready to go for the full 3000 lumens again. From the factory, it is programmed with that floodlight. So I'll show you that first. And it's just going to be a full press of that. Again, we're at 6500 lumens there. It's the same thing. It's like going down now. It just decreased the output. But then when you release the button, it shuts off. It'll take a little bit longer to build that one back up because it's a lot more than the 3000 lumen spotlight. If you want to switch between the floodlight and the strobe, you're actually going to fully press this and then at the same time press the power switch. So if you are sensitive to flashing lights, kind of look away here, but we're going to push down on this, push this. Now we are in a strobe. So now I'm still going to have that spotlight. And then if I push further, it's going to give me the strobe. And what's nice about that is that it literally takes a second to switch between them. So you really have a floodlight, a spotlight, and a strobe light all in this package. Flashlight does have mode memory. When I last turned this off, I was on the high, so when I turn it back on, I'm going to be on that level 4 high again, the 1200 lumens. And you can do that at any level. So again, let's just say I'm on high right here, and I switch this. Let's just go to like the low 100 lumens. All right, when I shut that off, and then I wait an hour, a month, whatever it is, and I turn it back on, I'm going to come back on in that same 100 lumens. Another nice feature is that you can actually program the level that you want it to come on in. So let's just say I shut it off right there at 100 lumens, but the next time I use it, I want it to be on level 4, the 1200 lumens. You can actually half press this to display what I'm on and then press it again. So the light's not on right now, but I just programmed this for 1200 lumens. So the next time I turn it on, it's going to come on in that really bright 1200 lumens level 4. So again, a really cool feature. Try to show you guys this proximity sensor in use. It only works when you're set up for the high, the 1200 lumens. And again, you have to be fairly close to something, but you'll see it come on and then hopefully you'll see it like dim down immediately. Yeah, did you see that? I'll try to show you again, be even closer here. So it switched between the 1200 lumens down to 400 lumens. Now, if I were already on high, like let's say I turn it on up here on high, and then I come close, it will not dim down. It does not reduce the output if you're already on. It only works like if this were off and then accidentally got bumped, you know, in your pocket or something, it will reduce. Hopefully you saw that there too. And this is what it's going to look like in your pocket. There is definitely more than an inch sticking up out of your pocket. It's not a deep carry. But I do know that there are deep carry clips available on eBay and Etsy and probably even Amazon. We'll get the light charged up here next. So again, USB-C. We're just going to open up that charging port cover there. Get that plugged in. See what the display shows us. So it does show that it's charging. We're just over, well, it looks like 4.1 volts right now. While it's charging, you can use the light. So I can use high, pretty much all of the things on this side. However, while it's charging, you cannot use the other side. When you hit this button, nothing will happen. I also just remembered one of the best features about this light. So you can be on, and let's say I'm on in that really like ultra low 15 lumens, okay, and I'm looking around. I can go over and use whatever I have this programmed at. So if I want to do that spotlight while I'm on the 15 lumens, I can hit this and it will give you that blinding, 3000 plus lumens. And when I go off, I go back to my 15 lumens ultra low. It's a super nice feature. I can also do the strobe if I have that programmed. So again, if you're sensitive, look away. I can fully press here, go into strobe. And when I let off, I go back to my 15 lumens. And I can be at any of those levels over here. Whether I'm at 100 lumens right now, I can go up to 400 lumens, whatever I'm at. And then I can go to that really bright or strobe and then go back to my 400 lumens. It's an awesome feature. Most flashlights cannot do that. All right, let's see what this Nitecore looks like in the dark. I'm going to start off with the ultra low 15 lumens. Pretty decent little hot spot over there. Again, even that's enough to easily light up a room, but let's go up through the different modes here. That is level 2. Level 3. And here is the high. I'm going to completely shut this off. And then now I'm going to do the spotlight. And from here we'll go into the strobe next. So if you're sensitive to the flashing light, you can look away for a minute. But here comes the strobe. Alright, we'll see what this looks like outside. I'm about probably 80 to 90 feet away from this tree line. We'll start off in this ultra low. Camera's probably having a hard time picking that up, but I can definitely see the trees over there. But let's go up to the next level here. So that is the 100 lumens low. Let's go to the next level. It's 400 lumens. And now out here I'm going to do the spotlight, which is the 3000 lumens, and then I'll do the floodlight, which was at 6500, but we'll do spotlight first. I'll let that go until it actually shuts down on us. There, it just shut down. And now let's go into the floodlight. Do this floodlight one more time. It gets an impressive amount of light out of something this small, but again, it doesn't last real long. As far as run times go, when I was on that 6500 lumen like floodlight, maybe 10 seconds. And then if the light was already warm, it was under 10 seconds for sure. On the spotlight, the 3000 lumens, it was probably just over 10 seconds. And as you can see in the video, the light doesn't just shut off after that 10 seconds. It just steps down to a reduced output. If you're on the high 1200 lumens, you're probably going to get somewhere around 2.5 to 3 minutes of runtime, and it maintains that 1200 lumens. And then you'll have a small step down to maybe 600 or 700 lumens. It looked like it was about half. The medium, the 400 lumens, I let it go for more than 10 minutes and I never saw any type of visible step down at all. So I think it maintains that for a long time. So what are some of the pros about this light? First thing I'll say is this really is built like a tank. It's got that coated stainless steel. It seems very durable. I really think that you could drop this dozens of times, even higher than what it's rated at, and not have any problems with it. I can't believe how bright this thing gets for as small as it is. I know it doesn't last but 10 seconds or so, but you really can illuminate an entire field with this. I like how it has this fast lockout system, super easy to do, and then also how you have that instant access to lumen shield, which is your flood, or the search function, which is your spotlight, or strobe if you have it programmed that way. I really like having this OLED display. Again, it gives you all the pertinent information, what level you're on, the output, battery life, everything you need to know. I like that this has USB-C charging. It'd be hard for you to see right here, but underneath this, it says max charging is at 2.5 amps. This thing barely takes over an hour to charge from fully dead. I like that it has that little proximity sensor in there, so you don't have to really worry about this thing setting your pants on fire if it accidentally does come on. A few things to let you know about. The battery on this is built in. You cannot replace it. And most of these types of batteries, you're going to get at least 500 full charge cycles out of it before it reduces down to like 80%. But the light should still last you for years and years and years. And speaking of that, the warranty, I believe it is at 60 months on that, which is 5 years. So again, Nitecore knows their products are going to last. Something else I'll let you know about is when you're on that lumen shield or that search function, it gets hot really fast. Like I said, the thing steps down within 10 seconds or so, but the light is already really warm. And if you allow that bar to go back up and then hit it again, it's almost uncomfortably hot after a few times. It does not come with a deep carry clip, so you do have a lot of the light sticking up out of your pocket. You could always attach the lanyard and then just drop the whole light down in your pocket, but then it does kind of move around. Or like I said, there's a bunch of companies who do make deep carry clips. So like even this one here will fit on here, and this would put the light up to here, and you'd only have that little bit right there sticking up. versus all of that. And again, Etsy, eBay, probably Amazon, tons of places make clips, and they're like $10 or so. I've talked about how fast it steps down when you're on that lumen shield, that 6500 lumens. I would recommend making sure that you're already pointing at whatever it is that you're trying to light up before you even hit the button. Like sometimes what I'll do is I'll turn a light on down here and then I'll raise it up to whatever I'm trying to look at. Don't do it with this. Like already have it pointing at it. The thing I'll say is that customizable button, it seems to be a little bit finicky. Like when you half press it, there's been multiple, like right there, it actually like came back up on me. It just did it again right there. It's like you gotta like it just did it again. You gotta be really mindful and like keep a steady pressure on it. If you even just move just the tiniest bit, it will pop right back up on you. And finally, the last thing I'll caution you on is, let's say we turn this on and I was just on that max 1200 lumens. Again, this will go for probably close to 3 minutes or so, and it will continue to say 1200 lumens even if it does step down to a lower output level. It can't detect what the newest level is. So like if it steps down to 600 lumens after 3 minutes, the display will still show you that you're at 1200 lumens. Not a huge deal because you can like visually see that it has stepped down, but just something to let you know that always says whatever output you started it on. But even with those few little cons, this is an absolutely fantastic light. Highly, highly recommend it. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, one of my favorite features about this light is to be on maybe in one of the low output modes, and then to have instant access while you're already on to either the spotlight or the searchlight or even the strobe if you have it programmed, and then it goes right back to your lower output. There's very few flashlights on the market that can do that. It's a really great feature. So the EDC29 is available on the Nitecore store website. They're $110. They're also available on Amazon for the same $110. And I'll leave links to both of those sites down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information on the light or possibly pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.